What's going on, everybody? This is Bobby G back with another Saturday Shpiel. And this particular week, it's going to be talking about how God effectively has the last word and always has the first word. This comes out of Genesis chapters 1 and 2, as well as John chapter 1, as well as the book of Revelation chapters 21 and 22, and the prophecies in between. But in particular, I want to focus on Genesis 1 and John 1. Why? Well, in Genesis 1 and 2, we see how God talks about how God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and there was the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night, and so there was day and night, first day. Then we go on to see the 6 days, and on the 7th day, God saw that everything He had created was very good, and on the 7th day He rested, or He ceased, depending on which translation you have. And then in John 1, it talks about, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And later on it goes to say that nothing was made that without Him wasn't made that was made. And then it says, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, or tabernacled among us would be the more accurate translation. Or pitched His tent among us is another way to put it. But the thing is that everything starts and ends with God, right? God made the earth, the creatures, the plants, everything on the earth, above the earth, under the earth, and in the sea, and all that there is. And then, Jesus came and dwelt among us as God in the flesh, the incarnate form of the divine among us, died, was buried, resurrected, rose, and sits at the right hand of the Father until He comes back, which is a time that we don't know. But what we do know from the book of Revelation, certainly in some of the books preceding that, from the apostles like Paul and Peter and John and such, is that when all is said and done, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, Jesus is going to have the last word. Okay, God the Father is going to have the last word. There isn't going to be any discussion for anything else at that point. The only question is going to be at that point is whose book is written in the Lamb's book of life. And that's not a decision that anybody can make for anyone else. I can't make that decision for anybody watching this video. And nobody else can make it for anybody else either. They can only make it for themselves. I can only make it for myself. And, do I want my name to be written in the Lamb's Book of Life? And the answer is yes, which is why I surrendered my life to Jesus, a.k.a. Yeshua, right? And, when we look around at creation, it's hard to argue that we just exist because of a random cycle of proteins found a way to connect and create everything, especially when you get into the capacity of how complex organs like the brain and the heart and how the body functions are just exceedingly complex, and that's just one human body, and we're in a nation of like an estimated 330 million, maybe more, so that's a lot of people, and you look at all the creatures, all the animals, all the plants, not just in this country, but worldwide. It had to come from somewhere. And my thing is, when I look at it, is that it is God who created everything. And it's God who had the first word. And it's God who's going to have the last word. And the reason I bring that up is because with everything with COVID and with the civil unrest and all of this stuff and what happened recently, Lebanon, which, sidebar, I want to say, may the memories of everyone who passed in Lebanon be a blessing, and may God grant comfort in the midst of all that's going on. I'm not going to deny the reality of the situation in Beirut, but I hope for everyone, Christian, Muslim, and everyone else in between, that there's some comfort and hopefully rebuilding of the city. But in the midst of all the craziness, again, I try to look at how to look at existence, and that where do things start, where do things end. You know, you look at John, the book of John, you look at Genesis, you look at Revelation. God's always had the first word, God's always going to have the last word. What that's exactly going to look like, I'm not entirely sure, because realistically speaking, the book of Revelation is there's a lot of deep symbolism and a lot of, you know, to look at it from a rap perspective, there's a lot of double and triple entendres in those bars, if you will, if Revelation were to be considered a rap song. Like, there's a lot of double, triple entendres, there's a lot of layers to that book. Same thing with the book of Daniel. But all that to say is that as you walk through this week, who's ever watching this video, each time you start your day and each day you finish, I just want you to remember, God had the first word, and God is going to have the last word. Always. Not just in the beginning, not just in the end, but each day that we live. So remember to seek God while He may be found, to seek Jesus, and to live your life accordingly. That's my Saturday spiel for this week. My name's Bobby G. Y'all take it easy. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Peace.